HSBC has blocked credit card payments to Binance in the UK after the Financial Conduct Authority announced in June that the exchange cannot conduct regulated activities in the country. So Binance just cannot catch a break. Naomi, I'm going to kick this off to you for your initial thoughts here. I mean, what is Binance going to do next? They're looking for that CEO. They haven't announced that they've found one yet. What are your thoughts on Binance's future?
I mean, it's just interesting that now you have HSBC shutting things down, because previously we saw Barclays do the same, and Binance responded to that and said, actually, Barclays doesn't really understand what's going on. We weren't shut down. Binance itself isn't doing any unregulated activities. It's actually Binance Market. It's a separate entity. They're conflating the two. So there was a little bit of a controversy there about, whether Binance in general is just going to be shut down, and whether it's actually the unregulated activities. And what this has kind of shown is that, when the government kind of pushes back against what a business is doing, they have all kinds of levers that they can pull to, it doesn't matter whether these companies are doing anything illegal or not. And so now they're kind of losing all of their banking relationships, which is not good news for them. And it's no wonder that they are looking for someone to take over as CEO in the UK who has a regulatory background. Definitely seems like a smart move if this is going to be the future of centralized exchanges. Obviously, I think that exchanges, the future is going to be in the decentralized realm. I think we're going to see a lot more innovation there, especially if regulators keep trying to shoehorn these innovative new assets into existing paradigms. But Nate, I'll throw to you. What are your thoughts on all this?
Well, I agree, Naomi. I think that the banking system is another lever that regulators can use to kind of clamp down on crypto companies, as we've often said on this show. It is interesting to me that the FCA has said that this is primarily due to the fact that Binance doesn't have the licenses that it wants to have, or that the FCA would require Binance to have. I'm also curious to know for banks that are just shutting down operations completely for Binance, is this something that's related to just the licenses that they don't have? Is it also related to like what their controls are, whatnot? We've seen in the past banks about like being uncomfortable with crypto exchanges not having enough controls. But I'm curious to see kind of as this goes forward a little bit more. I'd like a little bit more clarity from like banks like Barclays, HSBC, and whatnot as to what they see kind of in Binance's business that they find problematic. Is it just licensing, or is it something more?
Mm-hmm. George, what's your take? Sorry, Jen.
Okay, I was just going to read this quote quickly from a Binance spokesperson in that CoinDesk article that showed up on the screen just a bit earlier. We take our compliance obligations very seriously, and we are committed to working collaboratively with regulators to shape policies that protect consumers, encourage innovation, and move our industry forward. And I think this is just so indicative of how Binance has really tried to work with regulators over the last few months, and it just really still seems like they really can't catch a break. I think earlier this morning, CoinDesk published a story about FTX in the U.S. hiring on a new attorney who's previously worked with regulators. And I wonder if that's the future of these centralized exchanges. Are we going to start to see more and more of ex-regulators and ex-attorneys who have worked with regulators working with the exchanges to make them into more traditional financial structures? I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, George.
Yeah, so 2 quick points here. I think first, this points to the very obvious ideal that just because money's in a bank account, it doesn't necessarily mean it's yours, right? Like, who are you to tell me that this is my, I can't do this with my own money, right? So I think that actually might push some retail people into cryptocurrency. Like, okay, I'll put a little bit of my savings in, Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency because I can fully control that. But to your point about the centralized exchange, and I think Naomi touched on DEX is kind of growing in the future, is that Binance and CZ, the founder of Binance, hasn't exactly operated sort of with the regulator in mind when he was growing the business. And now it's sort of, having to pull it back and try to get on the good side of regulators. But, regulators have memories and they remember like, okay, CZ is kind of like floating around. Does anyone really know where he lives? Binance really have a headquarters. So maybe there's a little bit of tail there of them being just a little bit vindictive on if it's Binance. So like, okay, are they really going to be good guys? Maybe we should look to someone else like FTX to be the good guys.